Alright, this is the story of how my parents met. Alright, so my parents met in the summer of 1983 when my mom was a junior in high school and my dad was a senior. And at the time, my dad was working at a camp called Camp Colton, and my mom was working at a camp called Camp Lutherwood, but they would work together a lot because they wanted to train them together and so forth, and they were both Lutheran camps, and so they were 2 hours apart. But so my mom was working in the kitchen, my dad was a counselor, and they would come together and train. And my dad says that the first time that they met was he was really into shaking people's hands and looking them in the eye at the time. Don't know why, but he's so she came down, you come across the bridge and down the road, and she came down and he shook her hand, looked her in the eye, and my mom said there was no lightning moment, that just kind of happened. and they got to know each other better, and my mom really liked that my dad could play the guitar really well, and my mom talked about how she was a softball athlete, and my dad thought that was really cool because he didn't know any other athletes. And she worked in the kitchen, and he was really into cucumbers and celery. And so he would come up and flirt with my mom and be can I have some roughage in my lunch or something like that, which meant that he wanted more cucumbers and celery. And so she would put them in. We didn't start dating at the time, but then after the end of the summer, they would write letters to each other. They wouldn't call each other on the phone, but they were kind of pen pals, and they just wrote letters back and forth to each other with pictures and stuff. And my dad was my dad says that he was really anxious always for her letters. He was always looking forward to them. And so they did that. And then when it came around to my mom's senior prom, they went together, and she invited him to go together. And so then the next summer they started Camp Colton, the one that my dad was working at originally, closed. And so he ended up working at Camp Lutherwood, and so they were working together as counselors, and they ended up just talking more and hanging out more, and they had a lot of the similar friends, and they had just been writing letters back and forth to each other, and kind of had a summer fling at camp. But then my mom was going to be a freshman in college, and my dad was going to be a sophomore, and he was going to actually be transferring schools, and so they had a lot going on in their lives. And so then my mom was I can't be dating you while I'm going to college because I want to be a free woman. And so they decided not to date. But then my mom was at Oregon State, and my dad was at U of O, and so they were only a couple hours apart, but they would talk on the phone all the time and have a lot of conversations, and they ended up deciding to date and became the couple that now I know. So that's the end of the story.
Yay!
Thank you. Okay.
Yay!